Welcome to another Berry Patch book review, and today I shall be reviewing Star Wars Bloodline by Claudia Gray. Before I continue, I do want to let you know I do have a cold as of the recording of this video, so if my voice sounds different than normal, that is why. So, instead of reading Star Wars Bloodline, I actually listened to it as an audiobook, probably about 5-6 months ago, I would say. I had picked up the actual book to read, though I never got into the book, so I ended up returning it to the library, and so I just went on to read some other books. I don't know why, just to begin the book, I had difficulty getting into. I was like, oh, come on, so I just couldn't get into the politics that they were talking about. I was just kind of bored at it, and I couldn't continue reading it. But the audiobook, I was able to listen to it much better and easier. And now I have gotten through the entire book, and I'm so glad, because once you get past, I would say, definitely past the first disc, it starts picking up. Maybe even the second disc you need to get by, but definitely the first disc for sure. And so, and for the book, that translates to about a tenth way into the book, a bit farther maybe, for the book to really start kicking in. The very beginning I found very hard to get into, and by the end I was fully invested in it. So I think that's, that is a good thing, but I think it does hurt it that it's so hard to get into. And I was super invested at the end of the book, and if I was invested the entire time, I would have given it 5 stars. Because the ending, I was so invested, I've enjoyed it so much. And I would say at least half of it, and the second half for sure, fully invested, fully enjoyed. It's just that very beginning that hurt the book for me. And that's why for my rating, I'm giving this book 4 stars out of 5. If the beginning of the book, if I could have gotten into it much better, especially when I was reading it the first time, it would have probably gotten 5 stars. But just the fact that the opening was not drawing me in really hurt its stars. It fully took 1 star away. Maybe without, if I got invested in it quicker, maybe it could have been 4.5. But because of that difficulty getting invested in the book, I gave it 4 stars out of 5. And if I had trouble, the first half of the book as a whole, that was kind of the pacing and all the stuff going on for the entire book, probably would have been a 3 stars. Because definitely once I got past the initial beginning, got into it, it definitely picked up my investment. But it's not until the second half I can honestly say I was invested in it. And because of that, it only deserves 4 stars. For a good half of the book, I was invested in it fully and really wanting more and more out of it. But in the first half, not as invested. It was more mediocre. So really, I could have given the first half of the book 3 stars, and the second half 4 stars. 5 stars, but as a whole, the book is a 4-star book. And the beginning really does, I think, harm its rating for me a lot. Could have that is where I think the book could have done its best job in improving in the beginning of it. Could have done much better at getting us involved, because I was just not involved or invested in it at all when I first picked up the book, and it harmed it. So there's so much going on in the book, and man, did I want to get more going on. And getting near the end, I was like, in the last scene where the resistance was formed, I was like, is Poe in that crowd? Could he have been there? I don't know, because they mentioned Snap and a few others, Admiral Akbar, they mentioned a doctor and a bunch of other characters, but I would have loved if Poe was mentioned in there, because that would have been nice, because he could have easily been there. And that's one character and it could have just been a small cameo. That's all we would have needed, in my opinion. And other things I would like to say of the book, really, is that ending is where all of it was going on. And of course, I was hoping that the Ransom Castelfo, the Central Center, that, he would stay in the Senate, and especially when his supposed centrist allies framed him in order to cover up their actual crimes. I just kind of hope, like, hopefully he gets off scot-free, because he's truly innocent, like, or at least not killed in the death penalty, which is heavily implied in the book. So I would kind of like to know, did he die? I wanted him to survive. Who knows for sure, but I would have loved to see that. Other things going on. There's a lot going on. I'm sorry, I'm at lost words because there's almost so much. I kinda had hoped that Leia would stumble across a bit more than in Maxine's Warriors connections with the First Order and centrist senators. I wish he, had stumbled on some hard proof rather than just a pet theory of hers that has no evidence. Kinda wish she was able to discover upon it, or at least, firm connections to the centrist senators and to former imperials who are sympathetic and want the empire to rise again. But also another thing that Bloodline does is political commentary. And oh boy, is there political commentary in Bloodline about a two-party system. So if you're an American, you're going to see so much of the Republicans and Democrats in the centrists and the populists. And about how the populists favor, planetary, sovereignty resting with the people, and the plan is essentially a decentralized authority. Kind of the Senate, kind of handles the interplanetary stuff. Protect against, patrol the space lanes, protect against common threats, that kind of stuff. Kind of acting more as a UN type organization, but with more authority, so more like the EU, I would say, but maybe less centralized than that. While the centrists want to become a more federal system, or even a unitary system. So something in more lines closer to the United States. Essentially, the populists want to be the U.S. under the Articles of Confederation, while the centrists want to be the United States under the Constitution, but with some more broad authority. So, kind of almost the states' rights issues, which is not something that's huge in the United States anymore, but was huge at one time in the United States, and it was used as a justification for other issues that people had opinions on, such as slavery, which was a huge issue in the United States. The southern states used the states' rights argument to support their claims of that they should have allowed slavery. Granted, that argument is being used again in the United States by the same party who have totally flipped values. Crazy, I think. American politics is crazy, but yeah. But the argument exists, like where authority lies and how centralized authority should be. That's essentially what divides the centrists and the populists. But another thing that which I think is really totally coincidental. I think this is totally coincidental about how a far-leaning faction can infiltrate a normally you can call them respectable party with decent positions and totally twist it. And I think it's totally coincidental how this is mirroring how what happened with the centrists in Bloodline is how it mirrors what's happening to the Republican Party in the United States. I think that is totally coincidental because this came out before Donald Trump even announced his presidential candidacy. Now, they had already infiltrated the Republican Party, the far-right people that ended up supporting Donald Trump and killing him in the presidential election, really helping him a lot. and having like maybe some external help. Like a lot of parallels, but like how one extreme faction, for the centrists, they want to centralize authority. Okay, not a terrible idea. The thing is, for Imperials infiltrated the centrist faction and hoping making the new republic more authoritarian, so that way when the First Order arrives, the galaxy is prepared and the new empire can just be formed like that at a snap, no difficulties whatsoever. While in the United States, what we're seeing is the far right in the United States, the alt-right as they are called, but not by themselves. It's essentially the white nationalists and supremacists, because that's what they are. They are arguing that a certain race is more supreme. But they've infiltrated the Republican Party and have co-opted its conservative values to serve their own interests. Kind of how pro-imperials infiltrated the centrists in Star Wars and co-opted its values of centralized authority and rule of law in order to formulate a new empire in a more authoritative system. The parallels are clear, and the thing is, it is not art mirroring real life. It's real life mirroring art. Like, I think it was totally coincidental how that happened. And, yeah. Now, I just want to say that that's what I'm saying now. From my perspective, is that the Republican Party is being infiltrated by those who share vaguely similar values and co-opting the values of the party to make it more their own. That's what I'm saying now. But like the field, like if you go look at other times in the United States, the Democrats had that same problem. Like, and nothing boiled down to it, but there was the fear of communists infiltrating the United States, co-opting its values of equality and all that, and freedoms, in order to formulate a communistic government. Now, the political parties that would have been more susceptible to that were the Democrats. The Democrats were never really infiltrated by communists the way white nationalists, white supremacists are infiltrating the Republican Party and other arch conservatives. And not the way pro-imperials infiltrated centrists in Bloodline. That is just something that did not happen, but could have happened. And that's what Bloodline is also showing. A cautionary tale on how a respectable political system and respectable and decently respectable values of any political party can be co-opted by an extreme faction to serve their own interests to the detriment of others. And that is what Bloodline is truly getting at in its message. And it's just coincidental that we get to explore how Princess Leia was revealed to be Darth Vader's daughter, and how Leia started to form the Resistance. That is, in my opinion, nearly entirely coincidental, and just something that was not planned. The political message part and how it reflects to real life. It showing how the Resistance came about was totally intended, and I think that is the main thing, but I kind of like how other things get to be shown. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and comment down below. What do you think about Star Wars Bloodline and what I said the message behind Star Wars Bloodline is? Also, subscribe to my channel for future Star Wars content and follow me on social media to help stay notified when I release a new video. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you always.